Hello and welcome back to Duty Found. Here in our next episode we'll be going into the dungeon Halatali. I had previously queued, so we're ready to go as soon as we enter in. So let's get started. As always, I'm going to be going in as a white mage this time around. So we'll be getting a nice view of a healer perspective. This dungeon is level 20. So it will be level synced, but it is a fair bit higher level than our last episode's dungeon. So as we enter in, I'll go through the toolkit that I have available to me, and we'll see what we have to work with. Alright, it looks like we have an experienced party today. We've got a paladin, a monk, and a ninja. And I'm gonna go ahead and get a protect on everybody. And it looks like I've got access to some of my cross-class skills. I still have Medica, Cure 1. I don't have Cure 2 yet. I don't have Regen yet. So nothing to worry about there. I don't have access to Stone Skin yet, so the Paladin who has cross-class is taking care of that. I have Stone 2 now. That's nice. It's the go-to DPS ability for white mages. So I'll be able to throw out a little bit more damage. That'll be fun. Switch over to Cleric Stance. We're going to start this off right. I only have Arrow 1 as of yet, so I won't be able to multi-god things. As you can see, the Paladin is decently well geared, and they're, again, higher level, so being level synced down to 23 helps a lot for dungeons like this. The mobs are all a little bit on the lower end, so this should be a nice easy run. In Halatali you have quite a lot of optional content, so we'll probably see a lot of things that we probably won't see a lot of things, actually. We'll be going by relatively quickly. Oh. Time to actually get some healing done, pretend I'm doing my job. One of the main threats in this dungeon, especially in the beginning portions, are these dock doors. They have a potent frontal cleave, as well as an ability that increases their physical damage. So they're some of the first instances of tank busters that you'll run into in dungeons. Another thing to watch out for is there are quite a lot of bombs in this dungeon. As with most of their iterations in previous Final Fantasy games, bombs do self-destruct. So a nice little strategy you can run here with these bombs is to get them started, pull them, and more or less ignore them, and they'll blow up on their own after a bit. So these aggroed to me, and I'm just going to run along. And there we go. See, they're all three going to blow up at the same time. And a boom, boom, boom. Done, done, done. And the monk leveled up. Alright. And moving on, we're actually already approaching the first boss. So, Halatali is one of the shorter dungeons. It's nice, quick, and easy. This is actually one of the... there's a hard mode version of this dungeon. We'll get through that eventually down the line. It's a level 50 dungeon that was introduced a fair bit afterward. Square Enix likes to throw us the little bits of nostalgia there, be it from in-game or from out-of-game in the Final Fantasy world. Okay, and done with the last of the trash before the first boss. This one is Fire Main. It's a fire elemental. There's a mechanic here to keep an eye on. There will be sprites that spawn and move toward this center pyre. When they reach it, there will be a pulsing AoE explosion. I should be able to just heal through it, so it's not really a problem. Okay, and let's get to going. Okay, as always, area seals off behind us. We've got things established. And as I mentioned, the sprites, the mantises, are spawning. They'll make their way into this pyre here. When they arrive, they'll explode, dealing damage to the party. You have two options. You can either intercept the mantis and intercept them and kill them before they can get the fire, or you can just heal through the damage. They don't hit for all that hard. See, the first one didn't even break through my stone skin. So let them hit for a little bit, and then I'll switch off, do some healing. Here we go. Drop one, drop some damage, and switch back to healing. Now, nothing to worry about. Now there is a bigger one, the Noxious, and that has a heftier explosion as soon as it hits. They are harder to kill, so you just need to be careful of those if you're not over-geared like this party is. But it looks like we're about finished with this first boss already. Yep, that'll do it. Okay, we'll collect the treasure chest. And we'll take the ethereal flow into the next segment of the dungeon. This next bit is a bit of a change of pace. We've got mantises and snakes to deal with, as opposed to the doctors and imps from previous. Okay. In order to progress further in this dungeon, we need to operate all of these chain winches. There are 5 of them in all, as the duty list will show. A lot of times they'll be missed just as you're running by, and people get into a bit of a rush, and it runs counterproductive, but I'll try and keep on it. The mantises aren't too much to worry about. They don't hit terribly hard, and they don't have too nasty of the skill sets to deal with. Whenever you hit the chain winch, there are 3 options of things that can happen. Either a chest can spawn that will contain potions and the like, 3 lightning sprites will spawn, or a bomb will spawn and immediately self-destruct. being lazy, sitting here watching them beat on things. Let's throw a little damage at myself, and we'll move on. Now, the key to this portion of the dungeon is dealing with these the pythons. They hit very hard and reasonably quickly. Coupled with the damage that the mantises are already doing, it can get a little problematic. I'm going to throw that mantis out of the way with cool one for now. It's going to stun it or bind it over there out of the way. Cuts down on damage coming into the tank. So he's got poison from the snake. I'm going to cleanse that off. Don't need that dot ticking on him. Okay, and with the threat out of the way, I'm going to switch back into cleric stance and get these taken out. Okay, there's another chain winch. And again, we got the sprites. Lucky day for our DPS friends. They're leveling, so extra mobs is extra kills. Okay, and moving on. Alright, 3 mantises up here. Go ahead and apply my arrow DOT to all 3 of them. One of the skills that is going to be important to cultivate whenever you're leveling a healer is the ability to switch quickly between your cleric stance and your healing stances. Really one of the main differences between someone who's good enough and the great healers that you're going to see that you can get commendations from and really make a group just mesh together is the ability to know when it's safe to throw out some damage. As you may or may not realize, the faster things die, the less healing you can do. And everyone likes to be done faster with their dungeons. Okay, here we have the python again. So throw out a little bit of damage, but then we're going to switch over to healing stance pretty quickly this time around, since that snake is going to hit pretty hard. I'm going to throw out an eye for eye. As I mentioned in my last episode, that applies a debuff to mobs that hit the tank, or hit the target, reducing their damage output. So it's a nice little thing. It's not immediate mitigation, but it does tend to keep things from getting out of hand. Okay, that goes down. Hit the chain wrench. Oh, alright. Treasure coffer this time. There's another coffer down that way, nothing that we need to concern ourselves with. They'll go ahead and hit that on their own. This next pull can be a little bit much to bite off. I believe one of these pythons are not with the group. He's free roaming. So, yep, there we go. So the tank got him. Oh, but he got the rest. Okay, I'll have to heal right from the get-go here. And let's see if that works. It does. Okay, that'll spare us some damage. One of the snakes are going to be out of the action for a few seconds. Okay. That down, we'll throw out some damage and switch back before the tank gets in too much of a hole. Okay, and again with the damage, now that things are well and truly in hand. Okay, we've got 3 of the chain winches, so we're coming up toward the end. Here's the 4th. Alright, there's the gas bomb that I mentioned. It is going to immediately self-destruct, so let's hope everybody gets out of the way. There we go. Done and done. Here's the last chain winch. There's one more pull of trash bombs before we open up the way to the boss. One thing to note, the bind effect that I apply with Fluid Aura is really only helpful toward the early stages. As you go further along, it tends to annoy tanks more than anything. Just the mitigation is nice when tanks are squishy, but once they have things on their own, they much prefer having them in range for their own attacks. Okay, there's that. Operate the winch real quick. And again with the sprites. As you can see, the boss room opened up. So we'll finish these off. Move on to the second boss that actually has a fun little mechanic. It is one of the earlier instances of environmental hazards that you find in this game. One little bit of backstory for Halatali. This dungeon is a derelict coliseum for the Sultanate. So what we're doing is clearing out all of the old beasts and special attractions. So, a little bit of fun times. Now, I love the lighting in this room. Actually see, because of the time of day, or server time, it's 3 in the afternoon, and it's filtering in through the top and casting shadows and all that. Alright, now this guy is Thunderclap Weaver. It electrifies the pool of water that it stands in down here. So we'll typically drag it over to this ramp here, like so, where it's, there we go, it electrified itself and it's zapping the water. So you'll want to stay out of that, as the DPS surely already know. While it's doing this, it is invulnerable, so you can't just run in there and burn through it. You need to finish off all the sprites before it will come back to the fight. Okay, and here he is. The tank's going to pull him back so that the DPS are able to get their positional attacks off without any problems, and still be on the ramp. So, kind of edge forward and hate me throwing out some damages, making things a little difficult for him, especially with the boss being invulnerable to attack there. Okay, so he's going to keep shooting at us here from over there. We'll finish off the last of these sprites. Should be another batch of 6. Dodge that. No sense taking damage we don't need to take. The key element to remember when you're with this game, especially with dodging of attacks, it's not the animation you're dodging, it's the cast indicator. As soon as that orange indicator or indicator does change based on different mobs, but as soon as that indicator disappears, it's safe to be where it was. So while it may look like you're getting hit by an attack because you're in the animation, the animation is not the damage, the cast bar is to worry about. Alright, and there we are, finished with this boss. Nothing to worry about, but it's a nice little fun effect. Okay, and heading into the flow again for the last stage of this dungeon. Alright, I got the Doctor's robe. Nobody needs them, so we're just kind of greeting them for our own use. Okay. The Rudispeak is a cockatrice type of mob. They almost universally have frontal cone attacks, typically with status effects added. I think these two are just, if I'm not mistaken. And once again, we see the bombs here. This one has joined the fray, so hopefully the damage dealers will ignore it for the time being and just kind of let it do its thing. Once it decides to self-destruct, we'll just pull away from it, let it blow its top, and we'll sit back and collect the XP. There really is no benefit to killing these ourselves. At least these specific ones, since they do self-destruct. I'm just going to actually collect these. These guys do their thing, and we'll get a look-see. Up here is the Ul'dah store. We open that to get to the last boss. So, as I had mentioned, this is a pretty quick dungeon. There are a couple optional encounters up here. That treasure coffer in the middle of the room, while it contains gear, it's not terribly important to worry about, because it is booby-trapped. A Peist will spawn there. So it looks like we're just going to go ahead and skip it. Go into the boss. Now this boss actually includes elements from the previous 2 bosses. It will have sprites that run towards it when it lights a fire, and when they reach the center they'll explode, similar to the first boss. And it also will spawn fire sprites that, while it is active, while those are up, it will be invincible. So that's like the second boss there. So we're going to throw a little bit of damage out before things get going. Nice baseline to work with. There we go. It's invulnerable now, and it's dropped that environmental effect there. Sprite here. Will spawn several times. With the sprite going down, we can damage the boss again. See this? The mantises are still chasing after the boss, so if they reach him, they'll explode. The ninja's taking care of those though. And again, he's invincible. Well, maybe. I think he ran off the Okay, yeah, he is. Looks like I got caught standing there. Trying to heal while I'm in cleric stance. It's not really a good idea. Okay, and the boss is back to normal. Oop, looks like full hate. Tank's getting a little fancy trying to run around. Alright, this last one has not become invulnerable, so he just is none too pleased with us. We've got the mantises there spawning again. And this time around, they're noxious as well, if I remember right. We'll see those coming in shortly. The tank is just pulling the boss so that the sprites have further to go to reach him. Is limit breaking, and that is that for this dungeon. Quick, easy, and relatively painless. I'm going to go ahead and commend the tank. He did a good job today. And we'll head on out. Alrighty, thank you once again for joining me. This has been the 4th episode of Duty Found, in which we explored Halatali, Final Fantasy XIV's 4th dungeon. As always, feel free to contact me. I am more than happy to respond to questions or comments. And I very much hope to see you again in our 5th episode, in which we will be going into the Thousand Walls of Total Rock. Alrighty, thanks everybody, and good night.